Hey, Melissa, how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, Misty. So good to see you again. Love our
Thank you,
video
thank you.
time.
I know, right? Right. We do have fun. So, I'm Misty Cabanis, the realtor that Jeeps, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Live, Earn, and Play in Central Florida, where I cover all things real estate. And today I'm talking with Melissa McGlinchey with Premier Mortgage. And we're going to talk about the application process, what everybody, the scary application process.
I
Because
look at it
it's
like
not that scary.
application. All right. So application process. I think one of the biggest misconceptions for people on submitting an application or completing an application is they feel that they are committed, that they have to commit to the buying process or the refinance process when they submit that application. And that's not the case whatsoever. Really,
And they think that their credit's getting run too, and that's not the case either.
I mean, they will complete a question during that application process on if they approve for us to pull their credit, because legally, before we can pull anybody's credit, we have to receive their approval.
Permission.
They can check no, but most of the time I have a conversation with them before they complete the application, and I'll ask them, would you like for me to pull your credit before we talk and review your application, or would you like for me to wait until we're on the phone? Because honestly, 90% of the time, I like to wait until I'm actually reviewing the application and the process with the client on the phone. And most of the time these days, praise God for Zoom, is I do a Zoom with them. Yeah. And during the Zoom, I share my screen. So I'll share different scenarios and options as we're going through the application process, or I'll show my screen and I'll say, okay, here's where I have a question on your application. But at the same time, I can pull credit as well. And then I can review questions that I have on their credit report. But that is not a necessity, right? So during the application process, the other question that I have, okay, quite a bit is, oh my goodness, I think I messed up. What if I messed up? Okay. Yeah. Nothing that you can mess up on the application, because every single thing in that file, I can correct, I can change. So
it's not set in stone.
It's not. It's none of it is set in stone. It's really informational purposes. Okay. That initial application is informational purposes for me to assist that client on the pre-qualification process, right? So I ask all the questions. I go through everything in detail. And then if it looks great, I'll say, okay, so this is what we'll need for the final pre-approval. Or there might be some things that maybe they need to take care of beforehand, but I try to find out timeframes. So we plan accordingly. So if they're wanting to buy in March, okay, if you're not ready now, what do you need to do to be ready by the time it comes to March, and go over those timeframes and checklists? Or maybe this happens quite a bit. People think, I don't think I can buy right now. Right. Okay. So why do you think you can't buy right now? Well, my credit's not good. Okay. So what's your definition of good?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because everybody's definition of good is different. And so sometimes they can actually qualify now when in their mind, they're thinking everything's got to be perfect.
Right.
Okay. So again, it's an informational.
Real estate's messy.
Real estate is messy. It is messy. And it's also ever changing and ever evolving. But it's staying in communication. Communication is the biggest key between the client and the realtor, right? Yourself. And also between the client and me on the lending side. It's just constant communication and staying in touch with each other. Changes take place, or, hey, I've got a question about this, or what about this? It's all informational purposes so that we make sure that you are ready to buy when you're wanting to buy.
Yeah, and people could need time to save up, or maybe they're in a lease and we have to work around that. But, one of just the main things that we want to stress on today is that It's not a commitment when you fill out the application. It's just an overview for you to see where they are at so that you can prepare them and get them ready and just like you said, in the time frame that they need or that they're looking for, and that they can't mess up on it. But I also want to talk about there's a lot of things on the application and they don't have to fill out all of that. So let's talk about this in two different ways, because the two different buyers, we're either going to have people that have a job where they get paid a W-2 employee, or you have somebody who's self-employed. So those are two different things. So let's start with W-2 and let those folks know what it is that they need to fill out, what the minimum is that they need to fill out on the application.
Well, first thing I like to say is when a client's completing an application, they're not in the finance world. Okay. Right. So most of the time when they enter their income on the application, it's incorrect. Not a big deal. I don't even care if they enter any income information in the file. Okay.
So it's
because
not
what's going to
required.
happen is I'm going to get those backup documents. So if they're W-2s, they're going to send me their W-2s for the last 2 years and then the most recent 30 days of pay slips. I'm going to calculate their income, and then I'm going to correct that amount in our system to put exactly what it is. Okay. So when I work out there,
required, like in the field, like are there certain fields that are, like there's an asterisk and it's required, you have to put something there?
Income is not required.
Okay.
So they are not required to enter income. They are required to enter name, address, social security number, date of birth. Okay.
That's easy. Everybody's got that.
Yep. They've got to enter that. They need to say, am I buying or am I refinancing? So there are certain steps where when you click next, it's not going to go to the next page until you enter something there. Mm-hmm. And then in addition, I always tell people, you know what, if you don't know, one of the questions that it asks if they're buying is kind of what's the purchase price they're looking at. Who cares?
I don't know. Yeah.
Enter anything. It doesn't matter. Because that's, again, every single field is a field that I can correct and I can change. One of the things that I was mentioning to Misty a while back is you can even enter at the very end, there are questions called declaration questions. Those are important questions, okay? Because legally by law, we have to have those answered. And one of those questions is, have you had a bankruptcy or foreclosure in the last 7 years? Okay. Sometimes people accidentally, because they're going so fast, it's only a yes or no. Okay. And sometimes they accidentally check the wrong box. It's okay. And then they freak out. Oh my gosh, Melissa, I clicked submit. I checked the wrong box.
Yeah. I can see where that would be stressful and people thinking that, oh my gosh, yes, I just, shot myself in the foot on that one.
Right. Not a big deal at all. So there's nothing in that file that I am not able to change or correct.
Okay.
So I always tell people before they complete the application, just relax. It's okay. Don't stress on any aspect of it because we're going to review everything together. Okay. If you make an error on something, one, either let me know and I can go in and fix it, or two, we're going to catch it when we're reviewing the application together anyways. Okay. I'm very detail oriented because my background is underwriting. So when I go through the application with clients, I am very detail oriented on going through every aspect of that application. I know the trigger questions to ask. Okay. So I'm going to ask them lots of questions as we're talking either on Zoom or on the phone. I'm going to go over lots of different questions. Where's your money coming from? Right. And we're going to go through the whole sourcing and seasoning aspect. But those are all things that I talk about with them on the phone. So don't worry about being exact or correct. But another example, bank accounts. Okay. People feel like, oh, I need to go log into my bank account. I need to see what my exact balance is at this point in time. No. Just what's your average balance that you normally keep? Again, we're going to talk through all of this. Okay. But that helps me when I'm initially reviewing the application. It helps me on looking at different programs that would be good for them, right? Someone who has funds and wants to put down additional money is someone who's completely different than someone who needs some down payment assistance and seller credit for closing costs. That helps me to plan what's the best product for them because the different products have different qualifying data that
Mhm.
comes with them. And every program has hundreds of different guidelines to them. So me looking over that initial review of the application and then doing all my questions and asking all the questions with them helps me to better inform them of the products that would be best for them.
Right. So that's all on an individual basis.
It is.
So if someone, so that was pretty much somebody that we started out talking, someone that was a W-2.
W-2.
So now if someone is self-employed, so they're 1099, what's involved with that? They still fill out the same application.
They're going to fill out the same application. And biggest thing, self-employment people, don't even put anything for income. Okay. 100% of the time what you put is incorrect. So, and I only say that because again, they are not lenders. They don't know the lending guidelines for how income is calculated. I don't even want them to worry about putting income in there because I'm going to ask them for the last 2 years of tax returns. Okay. And I've got to review and analyze those tax returns and then possibly ask them questions about their tax returns before their income can be calculated. So the biggest difference on me having a pre-qualification phone call or Zoom with somebody between a W-2 and a self-employed is a W-2 is 99% of the time going to find out on the spot if they're pre-qualified and pre-approved. Okay. Self-employed, I have to review your tax returns.
Yeah, you have to dissect it.
I have to. So the other aspect of that is even if somebody's a W-2 employee, but maybe they have rental income and rental properties on their tax returns, I have to review those tax returns before I can pre-approve them. Okay. Anytime someone has anything additional on their tax returns besides their W-2 income, that is what we call variable income. I'm going to have to review those tax returns just to ensure that they're okay. And the reason why maybe they might not be okay if they're a W-2 employee, but they have rental properties is if they're taking losses on their rental properties on their tax return, I have to hit them with those losses and take it away from their W-2 income. So just in case anybody's watching this and they think, but I'm a W-2, employee. Yes, that's great. And I use your W-2 income. However, if you have any other variable income on your tax return, then I have to review that.
And you also have to review if any other type of assets they have that would be like a 401k or anything like that.
Not necessarily, only if they plan on using it. Yeah.
Okay. Only if they plan on using it. Okay.
Yeah. So when it's great for them to put as much in the file as they like. Okay. But if I don't really need it for their loan, I'm going to delete it out.
Okay.
And because if I leave it in there and it's not needed, it's just more documentation that they need to provide because anything I have in that application, anything I leave in that application needs to be documented.
So it sounds like in some cases, less is better.
Less is better. Yeah. In some cases, yeah. It's more is better to share with me, right? Always share more. If I need to forget something, it's going to come out of my brain and I'm going to forget it. Okay. So, but it's better to share with me everything that you need to share. And then I'm going to leave in your file what needs to be there for the loan process.
You're going to select what's going to be the best to put in your file okay.
Yeah. The process is a little stressful. I think if you ask anybody, it's a little stressful.
It can be because people aren't used to, not everybody's very organized and people aren't used to getting these types of documents. And, once you get into the application and, we get down to where, maybe have a property under contract, then it gets does get a little bit hectic, but that's for another video. But right now, just, letting people know that the application, and I believe that you have, how many pages is the application?
It's actually screens. So there's no pages anymore, right? Everything.
Screens,
yeah. So there's multiple screens. I'm going to say that's probably around 15 screens that you're going to, because it's not encumbersome. They're not super long screens. It's short screens.
Right.
Okay.
Because we have a short attention spans.
Yes. Make the process easy. So name, address is one screen. You click next. Social security number, date of birth, alternate names you might go by. Click next. Okay. So it's a very simplified, trying to just help people walk through not being encumbersome type of application. Okay. So really the biggest takeaway with this, conversation is don't get stressed out over an application. An application is just for planning. It's for planning purposes only, conversational purposes only. It's for me to assist you as the buyer on helping you plan to purchase a home and be ready on the time frame that you want to be ready for purchasing the home. And do not allow the application to stress you out at all whatsoever.
Okay, well, that sounds easy enough, and I would assume someone can do it right there from their phone.
They can, absolutely. They
Okay.
can do it right on their phone, and we can put the link in the comments for completing an application if they like.
Okay, absolutely. Well, thanks, Melissa, today for all of that great information, and hopefully, that relieves some stress and anxiety for people out there that, are thinking that, oh, they're committing to this, and just letting them know that they're not, and it's just for informational purposes to see where you're at. So thanks as always for helping out with great information in the world of finance for buying a home.
Well, thank you so much for having me again. And I hope to assist a lot of people after completing the applications on trying to figure out where you're at in the buying process and helping you to get where you want to be.
Awesome. Well, take care, Melissa, and I'll see you, looks like probably next week.
Sounds great.